Start the recording. This is design 320. Let me get the right one there. It's 320. It's Thursday the 11th. Remember that tomorrow is a holiday, as is Monday, so there will be no scheduled classes. If you have any classes that are synchronous or have regular meeting times on those 2 days, then you don't have them. If you do have meeting times scheduled for Saturday and Sunday, you do have those times. Saturday and Sunday are not holidays for us, just Monday, Friday, and Monday. Okay, so the stuff we're working on is due on the 14th. Good thing to do for your Valentine is draw them a rose and then submit it. What do you know? Anyway, 11:59 p.m. So please keep that in mind. And what I thought we would do today is just a review of 3D primitives again in AutoCAD. But the way I've shown you so far is just putting information in the dynamic input boxes. If any of you are having trouble with that, I thought I'd show you how to do it from the command line and from the properties box. So you can totally ignore these if you're already going along and it's going fine. But if this is like, it's hard to click in the right place and it's hard to see those tiny little boxes that they have there, then these other two ways can really, really help a lot. And then there's a very good video in the playlist for Tech Ed on move, copy, and rotate. And those are for the regular 2D AutoCAD drawing classes. But those commands work exactly the same in 3D. The steps are exactly the same. You click at exactly the same spots. It's just you have to click on a point in 3D. Okay. And what you'll see, I think, is that sometimes it's hard to figure out what you're looking at in 3D because it really is just a flat screen. It's not really a 3D object. We're just trying to make it look that way. So we'll talk about visual styles and how you can sort of help yourself a little bit if you're looking at that part and going, okay, it's not making sense in my brain at all. And it's like one of those things. I don't know if you've seen those pictures that you just cannot tell what it is until somebody tells you, and then it's flipping obvious what it is, right? And so sometimes these 3D views are that way also. So let's go ahead and start looking at AutoCAD. Here we go. And we know how to start a new drawing. And when a drawing comes up, it won't look like that. Let me get it back to where it looks like one of yours. So you can adjust the colors, by the way. Normally, when it comes right out of the box, it's black. Now, I don't happen to like looking at it black. It's hard for me. So if you want to, here's what you do. You right click anywhere out in this space, right click, and you go to this thing called options and you click on it. And tons of, oh my gosh, page after page after page after page of stuff comes up. But this is part of your display. So you'll go to the display. I like light instead of dark personally. It looks easier on my eyes. And that's for this toolbar up at the top. Okay. To look at your background colors, you hit colors and you go, what color background? Now, we're going to be in 3D parallel projection. I've got it set for white. You make it whatever color. Not good. At least for me. Maybe it looks good. Okay. All right. And some of you like this parallel perspective one. And I leave it like this in case I accidentally get put in perspective. So there we go. So 2D model space. I like to turn it white, but we're going to be working 3D. And I turn it white also. So those are just some little things that at this point can help. And here's the waffle thing, the grid. There. Personally, I find this so much easier to work with than a black background. You're welcome to choose however you'd like on that. Okay. And then we remember that we go down to this little gear and make ourselves 3D. And some of you like to be able to know about this dynamic box thing. If you look at dynamic input, you can turn it on and off, and it does different weird things. So I'm going to leave it on because yours is on. And then wherever your command line happens to be, you can leave it and that's where you type. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to do 2D wireframe. There's just a ton of stuff. So if you, I know some of you take notes, and just take notes and do it often enough so that you refer to your notes less and less and less. Okay, box. Click. And I usually look at it from the corner. Now, you don't have to. Okay, but here I go. Specify a corner. And I've got those two sides. And oh, remember, if I'm making something big, I have to type that I'm an architect, but I'm not. I'm going to make it 8. And then if I hit the tab button, it goes down to the next word. There it is, tab. And I'll make it by 5. Now, hitting tab just goes back and forth. So it's time for me to hit enter. Enter. And now the height, 3. And if I look at it from over on the corner, it's 8 by 5 by 3. That's cool. And it's hard to tell sometimes which line is which, except I see it in my brain because I knew what I was drawing. So sometimes you want to come over here, and now I see it a little bit better. To move it around, I can use the view cube. I can actually view it. Where's my different views? View. I can go to my view tab. Maybe my view tab is over here on my home somewhere. I don't see it. If I don't see it, sometimes I can click this little button right here. No, I didn't want that. I'll go back to home. I'll click it a couple more times and it'll come back. There we go. There should be a way for me to add more. Oh, here's view. No. Thought I could get some more things over here, but I guess I've got them all. I guess I've got all the ones that I can put up. Okay. Maybe it's under there. No. Okay. If I want to spin it around, I can hold the wheel and shift, and I can spin it around and look at it. But I usually go back to my little thing right there. Look at them over on my view cube. Okay. So that's one way to do it. So now let me show you another way. I'm going to make a box again. And by the way, 358, that follows Fibonacci's rules for what looks really nice. If you ratio your sizes by 1.61, that's called the golden ratio, then you're making something that looks really good to our eye. Okay, so 5 divided by 3 is about the golden ratio. 8 divided by 5 is about the golden ratio. So that's one of those things that you can learn about. But now I'm going to show you a different way. That way, just use those little boxes. So now, if I come here and I just say I'm going to start somewhere, and I come down here and I type L. I don't even need to come down there. I can just type L, enter. And now it's going to let me do this. But wait. I've got a problem. This is how I do it if I want it to go not necessarily straight. So if I want it to be straight, I'm going to turn on my orthographic. And now my lines only go horizontal and vertically. Otherwise, I can kind of line that box up so that it's kind of sticking in a weird dimension. So now I'm going to go 8, enter, width 5, enter, height 3, enter. And if you'll notice, it was showing up down on the command line. So that's a different way to do it. Let me do that one again. Box, find a spot, find the first corner, click, and then type L. And it's going to let you type in the different lengths. Enter. And now you have to give it an original direction. I'm going to make sure my ortho button is on. 8, enter, 5, enter, 3, enter. So you'll see that in AutoCAD, if you know your numbers ahead of time, life is a lot easier. But sometimes you don't know your numbers ahead of time. So let me just make a box. And I go, I sure wish I knew where I'm looking at. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6, 7, 8. I've got 8 pieces of paper on my desk. And over there, I have a stack of books. And over there, I've got a stack of notebooks. So I just drew something. And now I'm going to look for my piece of paper that has my numbers. And I've just found it. It's 8, 5, and 3. So if I click on this and go to my properties, I can say length. There's the length. 8. My width 5. And my height 3. And I'm just typing on my properties. And those boxes are all the same shape. They're the same shape. So let me show you that one again. I just make any old box. This is how I do it, by the way. This is how I do it. Usually. I make a box, and then I click on it, and I use my properties. And if your properties don't come up for you automatically, you can right-click once you've selected it. Click, right-click, and this big list of things that you can do comes up, and there's the properties. And then you can type in length 8, width 5, height 3. That's just the coolest thing. Let's see what happens when I do a cylinder. Well, it asks me for radius or diameter. Right now it's doing radius. If I see, it says specify base radius. It says it in that little box, the little yellow box. Specify base radius. or type D, enter, and it gives you the diameter. D, enter. And again, I can kind of like make it whatever size I want. Click, and whatever height I want. Click. And as always, if I click on it and look at the properties, it'll tell me what radius I've got. Let me make it 1.312. Somebody tell me, what is the fraction 0.312? Quick, 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 quick. Fraction 0.312. Should know these fractions, like certainly. Okay, how about this one? 1/4. What's the fraction? Somebody really quick. Or sorry, 0.25. What's the fraction? 1/4. 0.5. What's the fraction? 1/2. Thank you. 0.375. What's the fraction? 3/8. 3/8. Sorry, 0.75. 0.375. 3/8. How about 0.062? One 16th. So if you were trying to figure these out, if I said 0.062, if I did 1 divided by 0.062, it's about 16. So 0.062 is about 1/16. So those common fractions are good ones to know. Okay, but I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to say 1.312 then is 1 and 5/16. And I'll make my height 0.875. What's that in fractions? 0.875. Okay, so I'm going to show you one here. You should get one of these or get a chart and memorize all of your quarters, obviously your halves, all of your eighths, and then you should memorize 1/16, 3/16, 5/16. Those are all probably good ones. Okay, so that's something to memorize. Be good. Be good to do. Okay, back to AutoCAD. Sorry about that. Okay, so with this one, it's the same way. You can either put in the center, type in D for diameter, 0.25, and then the height, 0.375. Then you've got it. Okay. So if I want to rotate this thing, let me say I want to rotate that. Here's the rotate command. Rotate your object. And you can rotate a bunch of objects, but I'm just going to pick one. So I'll tell it enter, I'm done picking. And then where are you going to spin it around? Where are you going to hold it to spin it? So I'll hold it at this bottom corner, and it's going to spin about that. See? So you pick where it's going to spin around. Woo! And if that doesn't make you loopy, I don't know what will. So this is really weird. If I type in 10 degrees, it will go 10 degrees counterclockwise. If I type in minus 10 degrees, it'll go 10 degrees clockwise. So just know that. So what's my rotation angle? I'll say 90. So now I have it facing the opposite way. And of course, 180 flips it. So you can either rotate something or you can make a mirror image. Okay, so those are some of the things you can do to make these. Now I want to show you one more thing that will make a lot of difference when you make your water tower. I'm gonna say units because I'm gonna make a big thing. I'm gonna make it architectural. Okay. It really helps if you make your lines first. So if I'm going to turn this ortho button on again. If my legs are going to be, say, 15 feet apart, and I can't really see everything, so I can type Z for zoom and E for extent. That's everything I've drawn. And then I make another one 15 feet long. I can do that move command so that the midpoint goes on the midpoint. Then I can draw, let me go into this view over here. Then I can draw my cylinder. And I can't really see those lines anymore, but there they are. And that lets me make my other cylinders really easily. Oopsie, that didn't work. Diameter 1 foot. Whatever it is. And there are other ways to do that. Some of you who know AutoCAD already know the thing called, yeah.
What's the diameter of the? You're drawing a water tower?
Yeah.
So what exactly is the diameter of the water tank exactly?
Well, let's take a look. I think I gave it to you, but I'm not sure. So let me look and see. Did I give it to you guys in the what to do? Here's the resource materials. Civil. That's where you find it. Have you seen this one yet, Jake?
It says, well, on my paper, it says it's 24 feet.
Yep.
Diameter.
Yep.
And optional 1 fillet, but I want to do the fillet, but I just want to know, like, as far as like how you said that the distance between, so that I wrote that the legs were 1 foot wide, and I wanted to know, what I wanted to know was, did you just say that the distance between the legs is 15 feet?
I'm just doing an example for you, Jake. I don't want to draw exactly the right one because then people don't learn to read the drawing and draw what's there. So I'm just
Well,
giving you an example.
I just don't want to like. I had problems doing actually trying to. I could not. I honestly could not figure out the real distance between the legs correctly.
Well, it
So
says
it was
right
very
here,
hard.
it's 10 feet from here out. That's
I meant between the legs. Like, what's the distance between the legs?
well, if from the middle to one is 10 feet, what's the distance all the way across? 20 feet. 10 feet in each direction.
No, I'm talking about from leg to leg, the leg to leg distance.
Well,
What
I
is
don't
that?
know. I don't know. Why do you need to know that?
Because it's not written.
Well, it's not written because you don't need to know it to build this.
Yes, I do, Mr. Schuster.
No, you don't, Jake.
Yes, I do.
You may want to know it, and if you know math, you can do that. It's a triangle, so you can do the hypotenuse of a right triangle if you'd like to. But I'm demonstrating to you exactly how you don't need to know that. Have
Well,
I
Mr.
measured
Schuster,
have I measured the distance between the legs at all?
I don't know what to do with this logic. It doesn't make sense.
Can you draw a cross, Jake? Like that? Are you able to draw the cross? It's
Well,
10 feet from here to here. It's 10 feet from here to here.
but
And so it's 10
you
feet
said that
from
the
here to
water
here.
tank. Well, you said that the water tank was you said that the water tank was 24 feet in diameter.
Yeah,
How
so Jake, I'm just doing an example here. What does the water tower have to do with where the legs are?
well, I just need to know where the legs are.
I'm
That's
telling
all.
you, they're at the end of the line. Draw the line and put the water tower legs at the end of the line, like I just did. Did you see me measure from leg to leg in some direction other than across the water tower?
Okay, I'll try this.
Okay, good. Okay. Right? So, for those of you who are,
Mr. Schuster,
yeah,
what did you mean when were pointing at the legs and you said that you had this zero with a line through it and you said like 2 feet and then zero with a line through it and like 3 feet?
that's the diameter of it. Okay, so look, if you're going to draw something, let's go back to this drawing and make sure that you understand it. So here's a thing, right? Now I'm looking at the bottom of it right here. I'm going to put it on the Jamboard for
You understand that? Be respectful. You can't take this class.
you.
Pay
Okay,
attention.
so here we go. I'm going to put it on the Jamboard for you.
On the phone. Yeah.
Okay, so here's a picture. This view over here is looking straight up underneath. I'm looking straight up underneath it. That's how civil engineers do it, by the way. They never line anything up. Okay, so this view here is looking right underneath. Looking up underneath the tower. There we go. So the way to draw this is you need a target point on where to draw those legs.
I don't know really how to do this
I'm telling you now. So if you
because that
listen,
what you is
that's what I'm doing.
is it from top to bottom view? But you said you wanted me to do a 3D drawing.
Yeah, so Jake, you need to listen right now, or I'm going to have you get off for a moment. Because I'm explaining right now, and you need to listen to the explanation. I'm looking underneath it because you have the ability to do that in 3D. Do those look kind of the same? That's looking underneath it. There's the water tower, and I can look underneath it. And that's where I'm showing you on the Jamboard. So on the Jamboard, when you're looking right underneath it, you draw lines from the middle to the outside, that's 10 feet. From the middle to the outside, that's 10 feet. From the middle to the top, that's 10 feet. And the middle to the bottom, that's 10 feet. Okay, then you draw your big circle on top of that. And at each end of this little line, you draw your little circle and extrude it out. How big is the big circle? 24 feet in diameter. And it's 10 feet tall. I'm giving you all the dimensions. Okay, that's what that means right there. And then the legs are 20 feet tall. And they're 2 feet in diameter. That's what that means. And this one in the middle is 3 feet in diameter. Okay, so that's how you do it. Okay, those are all the dimensions you need. If you think you need this dimension, you don't. But you could figure that dimension out in AutoCAD.
Can I copy a distance?
Can you what?
Can I, let's say, click on, I tried doing this. Can I just type, like, if I want to like select and copy, can I copy the like, let's say, so like, how do you want me to do this?
Well, I'm demonstrating that, but you're interrupting the demonstration, so it's hard for me to do that.
Okay.
So I just showed you how to do it. Draw a line and draw a line. Put the middles together and put these things at the end. So that's how I'd like you to do it. Now, if you
Thanks.
have a different way that you'd like to do it, you can. But that's my demonstration on how to do it right there. Okay? All right. So we're going to move on now. Those are all good questions, but we're going to keep moving on because I have a few things that I want to show. Okay? So, but that's how you do that one. Okay? Now I wanted to show you another cool command. If you're interested in seeing it, if I make something and I know that it's 20 feet all the way across, I can do a cool rotate command where I can rotate this object about the middle point, and I can rotate it 90 degrees. Oh, I forgot to say copy. Let me do that again. Rotate about that middle point, and I can type C for copy and then 90 degrees, and it makes a new one there for me. So that's another way that you can get this cross made. So that's one way. Here's another way. 20 feet. except I have to write the foot symbol. 20 feet. And then I'm going to draw another one, 20 feet. And then I'm going to move it so that the midpoints match. Because I think that's what I saw right here. Yeah. That's what I saw right there. Cross. And it's 20 feet across. Okay, so I'm doing good so far. So there's another way I can do that. I can make it 10 feet. And then 10 feet. And then 10 feet. And then 10 feet. And these end points are called target points. And this center point is called a target point. So now I can put a cylinder on it with a diameter of 24 feet and a height of 10 feet. And I have the top part of my water tower. And then I've got a cylinder with a diameter of 2 feet and a length of 25 feet. And now I can either keep doing that or I could use that copy command I figured out before. And that just leaves me my one in the middle. A diameter of 3 feet. Except I did the wrong command. Cylinder. Diameter of 3 feet and 25 feet long. Go. And there it is. There it is to the right proper dimension and scale. Now, how many of you are familiar with water towers? Any of you have a water tower that's near you or where you grew up or anything like that?
We actually have two here near us. And in fact, it got to the point where people wanted it to sort of blend in. So they painted these trees on it. And ever since then, you can still see it.
Yep.
You can still see the water tower and everything. It's just a piece of art on it.
Cool.
You're painting a bunch of trees.
Well, they're trying to make it look good. So what's the purpose? Does anybody know the purpose of a water tower? Pressure. Thank you. Natalia knows. It's for pressure. So if you just wanted to store water, it would be a lot cheaper to put it on the ground. But when you raise it up, okay, it has more pressure when the water comes out the middle at the bottom. And there's formulas for it. It's 2.61 feet for every PSI you want to raise. So if you go up, 26 feet, you go up essentially 10 PSI. And so that's cool. So which ones of these legs usually is where the water comes out of the tower, and which ones are the ones where the water goes into the tower? Most often, out comes from the middle, and the outside ones are the ones that feed water in. However, sometimes you'll see that these ones are just structural and that there's two pipes inside this big kind of casing, and one is the up and one is the down. Cool. Okay, so these are water pressure. When do these fill up usually? Usually they try to size these so that it fills up at night, so you don't have to have this humongous pump. You can just spend all night long pumping it up, and you don't have to have such a huge pump. And if this is big enough, it can handle the amount of water that you're going to need in the morning, so that you can just keep your small pump running, kind of filling it up all day long, but there's not so much going out that it just drains it right away. Okay? Otherwise, you need a huge pump, and that's really expensive. But a small pump or a couple of small pumps working all night long to fill this up usually is a good way to control it. But yeah, so the water towers are for pressure, and that is such a good cheap way to do it, right? Okay, good stuff. So let's see. Let's see if I've gone over everything. I wanted to go over typing into the little boxes. I showed you that. Typing onto the lines. I showed you that. Properties in the box. I showed you that. I showed you rotate. And I showed you rotate with copy. Visual styles. So, and I showed you a little bit about that, but let's take a look at it again. When you're looking at that, and you're looking at it as a wireframe, it can be really hard to decipher what you're looking at. It can be really hard. So there's some things that you might want to do. First of all, get used to looking at front and right and top and trying to figure out in your brain what that thing looks like. So from the front view, I kind of get that there's some big thing on the top with little things sticking down. And from the top view, I get that all those things are round. So when I look at it in this view, I go, okay, there's the round thing on the top. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I kind of get what it looks like, but you can look at different ways of looking at it. And here's where X-ray really kind of helps. And sometimes you want to rotate just barely off of this. So I'm going to hold my shift down and my wheel and go, oh, just turning it a little bit and putting it in X-ray mode, to me, made that look a little bit more understandable. Just a little bit more understandable. Okay? And now I can see those crossing lines on the bottom and how these line up at the end of the crossing lines. So those are targets. So X-ray is cool. Shades of gray can be kind of cool, but sometimes I got to be kind of okay. Sometimes I got to do what they call wobble it around to look at it. And I'm going to get rid of this stuff because it's kind of freaking out my eyes. Okay. So sometimes I wobble it around until my eyes see it better. Yes, so Olivia asked how to do the fillet, and I'll show you that in just a moment. Okay, which I don't have a lot more time, but I have a little bit. And then there's conceptual and shaded and some other things. And if you go into conceptual, you can assign colors to different things. So I can assign that maybe a red color, and I can assign these ones look at the properties, maybe a blue color. And again, it starts making more sense for me. Even when I look at it in X-ray, it's even better. Okay, so there's some of the things you can do. So now, we got the question about the fillet. The fillet tool is right here, but I usually type it in. Fillet, fillet. And my command says, select an object. I'm going to do this object. And if I pick the line already, it makes it easier. So I want to fillet that top edge. So when I pick the object, I pick the line too. And then I have to tell it a radius, because right now, if I read my command line, it says the radius is 0. That's a sharp corner. And I said I wanted an R. I've typed it in down here. Enter of, I think, did I say 1 foot? Enter. And then select the edge. I'll select it again. And up, there it went. Put a fillet on it. Now, AutoCAD does not fillet nearly as easy as Inventor. And it could be that if you get this a little too close to this, it will not fillet. Well, let's try it. Fillet. My object, and see, I can't even tell what I'm looking at. There, now I can. It already tells me I'm 1 foot. I'll type it in again, 1 foot. Select the edge, there it is, enter. Oh, and it made it. It sure is hard to tell this stuff sometimes, huh? I'm going to get back into it. That's a little easier. Well, it's not going to let that, it's not going to like that edge. That curve is just going to stay that way. That's okay. It kind of looks cool. Okay, Olivia, was that enough to actually answer your question, or do you need another demo on something else? Cool. Okay. Other good questions. Other good questions. I picked this one to do the fillet on because it's easier to do fillets on round things than it is to come over onto these blocks. These blocks are a little bit harder to do multiple chain fillets in AutoCAD. Inventor, they're oh so much easier to put on fillets. Look at this weird thing going on over here. Okay, so that's a little bit of a problem that you would see later on. Okay, so that's your civil tower. And if I want to see it over here and make it center up, I can click that piece of paper. I clicked my layout. Doesn't matter which one. I click that I don't want to see the paper. I want to see this kind of like the video screen. And I can either double click my mouse wheel or do Z for zoom, E for extents, the extent of what I've drawn, and then go back. And there we go. Now these things in here are kind of ugly and in the way. So I either need to move those and show them somewhere else. That's nicer looking. That's not a bad little drawing. And if I want this to look different, I can go into here and I can change my sketchy and all that kind of stuff in there. There we go. That changes it in there. You guys are learning a lot in a week. So long as you get kind of something sort of like, that's just fine. Okay? Some people have already had AutoCAD, so this is a refresher. Some people have never seen AutoCAD, and so this is hard. And some people have seen AutoCAD but never in 3D. So everybody's probably getting something a little bit new. All right. Any last questions? And Jake, I've got you down on my list, and I think I put you for 3 in a row. So we'll have plenty of time to go over stuff. Okay, then I'm going to stop the recording.